Good. I'm Nate Stilner, and I'm here to talk to you about how ADHD has effects on driving. Like right now, when a lot of people are talking about being ADHD and stuff, you can't really keep your mind on two different things. Like, as you see, my mom's recording me right now. I'm driving, and I'm also talking to you, and that really kind of like scatters my brain. I don't really know how to, focus on different types of things. So I could be like literally like playing with the radio, but also driving. And it's just a lot of distractions in ADHD. And not a lot of people and not a lot of kids know that. And I see a lot of people online and kids getting bullied for having ADHD. And I was one of those kids when I was younger. And for the people that are going to watch this, ADHD is not a bad thing. God made us God made us different for a reason. Don't let ADHD affect you in any way. When I was younger, I used to blame everything on ADHD. Sometimes I catch myself doing it still to this day, but it's nothing of great. Like, I love ADHD. I love myself, and I pretty much have told myself, hey, you have ADHD, you can't do anything about it. And it's a blessing, and I'm just glad that I'm on this earth with great friends and family that support me and love me. But it's really hard.
Okay, so what are some strategies that you have to use while you're driving to compensate for the things that...
Like, some strategies that I really like to use while I'm driving is I like to tap my finger, and I tap my finger on the steering wheel, touch my leg, just play with something on the side of the car, anything like that, just to keep my mind off things and stuff like that. And I know it sounds crazy, because that's another distraction, but it really makes me drive better. Like what me and Mom were talking about a couple of minutes ago, sometimes I get off the lines when I'm talking and stuff like that. It's just different, it's way different for a lot of people, and it really affects kids a lot. And everybody says ADHD's it's fake and this and that, and it's not really fake. Like, I'm here to tell you that it's very true. That it's it's true, and people get affected by it every single day. All through middle school, I was making great grades because I was on a type of medicine called Concerto, and I was on Concerto, and I was a happy little middle school boy, and I was having fun doing whatever I could do, when I wanted to, and it was great. But then
and how did Concerto help you?
Concerto helped me a lot because it was just a great medicine for me. I would stay focused in the classroom, had no distractions, and honestly, I'd stare off in space too sometimes. I was just so focused. And I know that kind of sounds crazy, but like when I stare off in space, I'm really focused. For example, when teachers would put something on the board, I would literally lock my eyes onto it, and I would not let go of it. I had no distractions whatsoever when I was on my Concerto. But really what happened was when I got older, I had a lot of things happen to me. For instance, my grandpa died, and when my grandpa died, that's kind of when stuff went downhill, and some stuff happened with...
Are you on medication right now?
No, I'm not.
Why not?
I think I do a lot better without medication. We tried Strattera a couple of months ago. Well, maybe a month ago, actually. And we tried Strattera, and I couldn't focus whatsoever.
What are some of the side effects of the medication?
Side effects of the medication was constant headaches, body acheness. I play basketball, so it was one day I didn't eat. And honestly, like, you couldn't really eat with the Concerto, but it didn't affect me. But with Stratera, I didn't eat one day. I might have had a bite of something. And I was going through some things in my mind, and just really made myself sick, so I didn't really eat. And
so no appetite.
So I really had no appetite. Just had some problems with my life. And
what about sleep patterns?
Sleep patterns it was decent. They were decent, but pretty much what happened was I went to a ball game, and and pretty much I had a splitting headache. I had the biggest headache I've ever had, and it kind of felt like a migraine, but it really wasn't. Like, I didn't throw up with it or anything like that, but it was a big splitting headache, and I didn't get to play that game, and it was really bad. It was terrible. And
but when you were on Concerto, which is a stimulant, what were the side effects of that as far as your sleeping habits went?
Sleeping habits were, I don't really remember them because
you couldn't go to sleep.
You
had to take melatonin.
Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, you're right. I couldn't go to sleep. I had to take the gummy melatonin. I had to take like 2 a day
as a sleep aid,
2 a night
in
for
order
a sleep
for you
aid.
to go to sleep at night.
And it was crazy. It helped, but sometimes, I really had a bad thing with sleeping. I was always scared when I was younger about sleeping and stuff like that. Like, it was weird, but I would have a weird thing about sleeping and stuff like that. So I just really didn't go to sleep. And I know that sounds odd because, a lot of people love sleep and stuff like that, but I hated it. Like, I was legit terrified of sleeping. So I would fight my medication off. I'd fight the melatonin off and stuff like that, and just stay up all night. But like, when you're ADHD, you have a bunch of energy. You have the most energy. Like, a lot of people, you have a lot of energy when you're, you're hyperactive all the time. That's pretty much what it is. You're hyperactive all the time, and I'm a very bubbly person too. Like, a lot of ADHD kids have a very bubbly personality because we just can't shut up. During class, during important stuff. Sometimes you just can't shut up,
and you ramble.
And I ramble a lot. And of course, you guys see me right now. I'm literally rambling.
Okay, one last question before we end your video. Some people say that my child can't be ADHD because he can sit and play video games 24/7.
That's a good question, Mom, because
so explain how video games help you deal with your ADHD.
Listen, video games is basically this thing called serotonin, and there's this thing called serotonin, and pretty much what serotonin is it's a stimulant in the back of your brain, and if you're playing video games, you're focused on one thing. You're working on hand-eye coordination at the same time, but you're focused on a video game. And for video games, it's a really big thing for me because it's a way I can escape from the inside world, or from the outside world. I can go into a video game and I can just escape it. If I've had a bad day from school, a bad day, with my friends, anything like that, just a bad day in general, I can just go and play some video games, and literally it just
and you're using multiple modalities.
Yeah, I'm using multiple.
Like you were talking about hand-eye coordination.
Yeah,
you're using your brain. You're using your hands.
Exactly.
The same with basketball and playing a sport.
Yeah, exactly. I hear a lot of people complaining about ADHD kids and playing video games all the time. There's nothing really bad about that. There's nothing wrong with video games. There's nothing wrong with ADHD kids playing in video games. As long as you limit it. As long as you limit it, it's literally serotonin. Like, literally everything happens because of it. It's the same thing. Like, a phone is different for ADHD kids too. A phone is basically the same thing as video games. But it's a handheld thing. it's an on the go thing, like pretty much like a Nintendo Switch, anything like that. You pick it up on the go. You know, constantly you'll see me pick up my phone, get on Snapchat. What?
You're over 10 minutes.
That's okay. I'm gonna start again.
No, it's showing 1 of those minutes.
Well, we'll have to. Oh, okay. Well, keep going. I'll cut some out that we don't need. So pretty much, what I was thinking, like serotonin is this big thing. It's
a chemical produced by your brain.
It's a chemical produced by your brain. Like literally, with your phones, it's the same thing, you know. And also, I want to touch on something real quick that I've heard a lot of people on the internet talk about. Oh, you don't give ADHD kids energy drinks. You don't. Like, it makes them more hyper. That's an absolute myth. That's an absolute myth.
Because ADHD kids are lacking in what?
Are lacking in
stimulants. So they have the opposite effect.
Yeah. So it has the
stimulant has an opposite effect on an ADHD.
Exactly. It has the same
brain.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, like, if we're really being honest, that melatonin literally keeps you up because it's a stimulant. And you know, like same thing with energy drinks, anything like that. Like, you can catch me drinking an energy drink and I'm tired. Like, I'll be super tired. I mean, yeah, they're really good sometimes. I don't drink like real energy drinks. I just drink those like Mountain Dew Kickstarts. But, you know, those might as well just be an energy drink, but there's nothing wrong with them because it's literally, it makes me go to sleep. Like, it makes me sleep better and more sounder. And this might seem crazy, but a lot of people don't really understand the effects of ADHD. They don't get it. They think it's a myth, and I'm here to tell y'all that it's definitely not a myth. You know, you guys have to stay woke because it's definitely not a myth. If you have friends with ADHD, you know, just send them a message. Say, hey, you know, I know what you're going through. You know, like I get it. You know, I understand.
Be kind and compassionate.
Be kind and compassionate. Don't bring people down because, you know, they have something wrong with them. You know, don't bring people down. Just be kind. You know, and that's the same thing that goes with anybody with disabilities. Just be kind to them. You know, they were made like that. Just be kind. That's all I'm trying to. That's anybody. That's all everybody wants to be. Is to be. Nobody wants to get made fun of. That sucks. You know, nobody wants to get made fun of. You know, picked on and all that stuff. Nobody wants to do that. But pretty much, that's all I have for the documentary. This is what it's like to be an ADHD kid.